Books, 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 books. Time to organize our books. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Lorianne from It's All Primary, and welcome to this channel. We are in the middle of a series on teacher things to do while you are quarantining at home. And this week's video is on organizing your books. If you have all your books at school, you can't do some of these things. However, you can reflect on your organization and decide whether or not it is working for you or whether it's time to change your system. Books are the hardest thing to organize out after your files. And much like files, you can have one system that'll work for a couple of years and then all of a sudden you're looking for another system. I know very few teachers that have the same system that they've had their whole teaching career. Something new will come along and another strategy or another system will come along and teachers will try it. That's something that you will need to do yourself. I'm going to show you what I do. It's nothing magical, but it works for me. It might work for you. Let's find out. Now, if you've seen in some of my other videos, I have a lot of books. When I first started, I put literally all my books in either magazine holders or in boxes. I couldn't afford the fancy cases, nor do I even remember cases like this existing when I started teaching. But after a while, I started changing around my book boxes because I was always losing a book that I was trying to find. I started with themes, and I found themes worked the best. And whether it was books for the kids or whether it was professional development book for me, I have the kids reading books. I have them in various baskets. My issue right now, you may not relate to this at all, but because I'm constantly moving schools, not that that's my plan. I'm always changing around how I put my books. I am right now doing job interviews and trying to get that last permanent job that I hope I can be in this next school for the rest of my teaching career, but Lord knows, maybe I'll only be there a few years, who knows. I have not ever taken the time to invest in one type of basket, but I did find I was able to get almost the same type of basket for my books in my classroom right now for almost all the subjects. I do still have a few of these. I don't toss them until they're breaking, which this one is starting to break. Buying baskets for your books for the kids is a real investment, and I don't recommend you trying to do that your first or even second year of teaching unless you have the money. Save up for this. Some teachers love the Sterilite, some people will go to Hobby Lobby, some will go to the Dollar Tree or Dollarama. They will buy their baskets there. It's quite an investment, and unless you know that you are going to be staying in this grade for the rest of your life, or at least for the next 5 years, really price out how much things cost. It's so easy to have our eyes bigger than our wallet. If you saw the first video in this series on creating a budget, you really need to just think carefully about the cost of baskets. I would love to say I have one system, but I don't. I have 4. Students' books, the ones that they get to read, are in dollar store type basket. Invest in some Sterilite or dollar store, whatever you can afford. The second one is I have these magazine type holders for my read alouds, and each month I have a basket for the read alouds that I always do that month. There's always room to put more in. I got these labels from Foxwell. I'll link it down in the bottom, but I have these for each month. So there are 10 of these, and I have usually between 10 and 15 books in every one of these, and I always leave room because I'll either learn of a new book or I will be still finding books that I have buried on the shelf, and I'll put them in here. And then all of these I put them in month order starting at September for our district, and that way I just pull these off and these become my read aloud. Third type of books stored are these. They're actually scrapbook cases, but I think they're perfect for I put theme books in these. So I started doing this particular style of putting my theme books in cases about 2 or 3 years ago, and I like this. I still need to finish labels. I will be putting labels on them this summer. So when I'm talking about organizing your books, I'm not just talking about how you are going to have them stored in things. I'm also suggesting going literally through every book that's in this case and checking for rips and pages missing. This is actually a good job to do when you're watching television or listen to a podcast or an audio book, because it's something, you know, like you said, you're just whipping through the books just to make sure everything is okay and make sure you've got all your books. One of the things that I'm also adding, and I've started typing up, is I'm making a list and putting it at the top of the books that are actually in these cases so that I know what's in here, and in case I go back and check it when I'm putting them back in here and things are missing, I know it's missing. Because every year picture books have a way of walking out the door and I never see them again. And there's some books that I've loved and I have no idea. And that yet at the same time, you've seen my bookshelf in other videos. There are hundreds of books there, and yes, they could be there. Books is a big task that I'm doing for the month of June so that I don't have to look at it over the summer. And then I just happen to have miscellaneous books because there are always books that don't fit any of these. Now, if they're small, I also make with student baskets, and I'll try to make a video about this. Most of my baskets, student book baskets, have a theme, but I've now have levels as well. So there are books that I just can't, there's not enough of them to make a basket. So now I've got a level 1, 2, 3 for grade 1. So I still have books. I'm going to turn the camera around and just show you a little bit of my crazy shelves. Years ago, I used to have 7 shelves of books. I am down to 3, but that's because I've gotten a lot of them in cases and magazine type baskets and things like that. So what is left? There are theme books. There's author study books, which I have not put into baskets, which I might do this summer. There are grade 2 and grade 3 chapter books and novels. There are some of my favorite books growing up as a kid. As you can see down near the end there's Nancy Drew and Bobbsey twin books. And then down below here, there are professional development books. So there are still lots of different books. As I said, there is no one way to organize books. It is so important that you do have some sort of system in place. Start one. You can use what I've used. You can use what your teacher friends use. Just use one. And that's it for today. If you found any value from these videos, I'd appreciate a like, thumb up, and if you have not done so already, please subscribe so you don't miss any future ones. And I'd really appreciate a comment if you can let me know what kind of book system do you currently have, and are all your books at school or do you have some at home? I'd love to hear about it. Next video in our series of things to do is all on professional development. I hope you're having a great week. Stay safe, stay home. We'll see you on the next video. Take care.